The moment the door slammed shut behind him, the room went silent, too silent. Every instinct Marcus Cole had honed over 20 years as a Navy SEAL came alive in that stillness. The air in the boardroom was thick, the kind of silence that carried tension like a loaded weapon. He wasn't supposed to be here today, he'd sworn he was done with conflict. But when his little girl's future was on the line, when the woman who had given her everything was being cornered by men who thought power gave them the right to destroy, Marcus knew there was no such thing as retired. He leaned against the doorframe, eyes cold but calm, scanning the faces across the table, men in suits worth more than most people's homes, their smiles tight and their eyes predatory. And at the center of them sat Emily Hart, the CEO, the woman who'd built this company from nothing, the woman who'd believed in him when no one else did. She looked up and froze when she saw him. There was a flicker in her eyes of relief, disbelief, and something deeper, something that neither of them had dared to name back when life had been simpler. Marcus didn't say a word. Not yet. He just waited. Because he'd learned long ago, when wolves think they've cornered the weak, that's when they make their biggest mistake. The first time he'd met Emily was 2 years ago, at a veterans fundraiser his daughter had dragged him to. He'd been a ghost of himself back then, haunted eyes, tired hands, heart buried under the weight of loss. Emily had been the guest speaker that night. Confident. Graceful. Her words weren't polished like a politician's, they were raw, human. She'd talked about rebuilding, about starting over when you've lost everything. Marcus hadn't known it then, but she was talking about herself, her husband gone, her business on the verge of collapse, her faith in people almost gone. After the speech, he'd found her outside, sitting on the steps, shoes off, holding a glass of wine and staring at the city lights like they were a map she couldn't read anymore. He'd said something stupid like, "Not much of a party," and she'd laughed, the first real laugh he'd heard in years. That was the night he started believing in second chances, but tonight wasn't about nostalgia. Tonight was about survival, hers, her company's, and maybe his own sense of justice. Across the table, Richard Voss, the slick-tongued CFO who'd been circling Emily's position like a vulture for months, leaned back in his chair. "Emily," he said smoothly, "this is business. You've done well, but it's time for leadership that understands how to win in the modern world." "By modern world, you mean betrayal?" Emily shot back, her voice steady but her hands trembling slightly under the table. Richard smirked. "By modern world, I mean profit. Emotion doesn't belong in business." That was when Marcus finally spoke, his voice calm but edged with something sharp enough to cut glass. "Then you're in the wrong room, pal." Every head turned. Emily's breath caught. The men looked confused. Who was this guy in a worn leather jacket and jeans, standing like he owned the place? "Who the hell are you?" one of the board members demanded. Marcus stepped forward, every motion slow, controlled. "Just someone who doesn't like bullies," he said. "And you're about to find out what happens when you corner the wrong woman." The next few minutes unfolded like a mission briefing gone rogue. Marcus didn't throw a punch, he didn't need to. His words were precise, cutting through lies and manipulation like a blade. He'd done his homework. He knew about the secret accounts, the falsified numbers, the coercion. Every fact landed like a hammer, and with each revelation, Richard's smug grin faded. Emily sat in silence, watching as the storm she'd been trying to weather alone finally broke in her favor. When it was over, the board members filed out, some ashamed, others terrified. Richard was last to go, muttering threats under his breath, but Marcus didn't care. The battle was over. When the door finally closed, Emily exhaled shakily. "You shouldn't have gotten involved, Marcus." He looked at her, eyes softening. "You'd have done the same for me." She smiled faintly. "You don't even work here." He shrugged. "Didn't stop me." There was a long pause, quiet, charged. Then Emily said, "You really think I can fix this?" Marcus met her gaze. "You already have. You just needed someone to remind you you're not fighting alone." That night, as he walked out into the cool city air, Marcus found his daughter waiting in the truck. She looked up from her homework. "You look like you scared somebody again." He smiled tiredly. "Maybe a few." "Was it for her? The lady from the company?" He hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah. For her." His daughter grinned.
She must be special. Marcus started the engine, eyes on the road.
Yeah, he murmured, she is. Weeks passed, and the company stabilized. Emily called sometimes, at first for advice, then just to talk. Marcus tried to keep his distance. He told himself he was done with complications. But the truth was, she had become the calm after every storm, and he didn't know how to walk away from that. Then one evening, she called in tears. The board was trying to force her out again, this time using legal pressure, leaks to the media, everything they could throw. Marcus didn't hesitate. He went to her office, only to find her sitting in the dark, head in her hands. They won't stop, she whispered. I'm tired, Marcus. I don't have anything left to fight with. He sat beside her, silent for a long time. Then he said softly, You've got more than you think. You've got your truth. And you've got me. The next morning, they faced the board together. Emily spoke not as a CEO defending her job, but as a leader reclaiming her purpose. She told them what the company stood for, what she believed in, and how corruption had no place in it. Her words were fire and steel, and when she finished, the room was silent. The vote went her way. When it was over, she turned to Marcus, tears glistening. I couldn't have done this without you. He smiled, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. Sure you could've. You just forgot how strong you were. She laughed softly through the tears. You always know what to say. Occupational hazard, he said, half smiling. Spent a lifetime talking scared people through hell. Emily looked at him, really looked, and said quietly, Then stay. I'm tired of fighting alone. Marcus hesitated, then nodded. I'm not going anywhere. Outside, the world went on, oblivious to the battle that had just been won. But for two people who'd both lost too much and fought too long, it wasn't just another victory. It was the start of something worth protecting, and as Marcus walked her out of the building, her hand brushing his, he thought about how strange life was, that a man trained to fight wars had finally found peace in defending something as simple, and as powerful, as a woman's right to stand her ground, because sometimes, the real war isn't fought overseas, it's fought in quiet rooms, behind closed doors, where courage takes the shape of compassion, and strength means never letting go of the people. Worth saving, and for Marcus Cole, one thing was certain, no one laid a hand on that lady again. Not on his watch.